Whole grains have always been promoted as a healthier alternative to refined grains, but not all whole grains are created equal, especially when it comes to managing diabetes. It's easy to assume that because something is labeled whole grain, it's automatically a good option for everyone. But if you're watching your blood sugar levels, there's more to the story. Some whole grains, despite their health halo, can cause spikes in blood glucose levels that are hard to manage. Let's dive into the worst offenders and uncover why they might not be the best choice for those with diabetes.
Before we continue, I'd like to tell you about Diasalon, a powerful blend of 13 natural ingredients specifically designed for diabetics. Diasalon is a science-driven supplement that not only supports healthy blood sugar levels, but also enhances insulin sensitivity and promotes overall wellness. You can find it on diasalon.com. You can find the link in the description. And now, let's get back to the video.
The whole grain family has some key players that stand out as problematic for people managing their blood sugar. One of the most notorious culprits is brown rice. Brown rice might seem like a wholesome choice because it's less processed than white rice, but that doesn't mean it's free from issues. Research has shown that brown rice can cause a significant rise in blood sugar levels, comparable to what white rice does. The glycemic index, GI, of brown rice is relatively high, meaning that it breaks down into sugar quickly after consumption. While brown rice contains more fiber than white rice, which can slow the absorption of sugar, it's often not enough to counterbalance its overall impact on blood glucose levels. Another grain that often gets lumped into the healthy category is whole wheat. Whole wheat is touted for its fiber content. But for those with diabetes, whole wheat products can still cause trouble. The glycemic load of whole wheat bread, for instance, can vary greatly depending on how it's processed. Mass-produced whole wheat bread is often made with finely ground flour, which is digested quickly and can lead to blood sugar spikes. Studies have shown that the more a grain is ground or processed, the faster it turns into sugar in your body. So, while the label says whole wheat, what you're actually eating can have a similar effect on your body as eating refined grains. One grain that is often recommended for heart health, but isn't always ideal for diabetes management, is barley. While barley has a relatively low glycemic index compared to other grains, it contains a starch known as amylose, which can sometimes break down into sugar quickly, depending on how it's cooked and consumed. In some cases, barley can still lead to higher blood sugar levels, especially when consumed in larger portions. It's easy to underestimate the portion size, and this is where the trouble begins. Barley might seem harmless in small amounts, but if you overdo it, you might find that your blood sugar levels aren't as stable as you'd like them to be. Let's talk about oats. Oats are often lauded as a perfect breakfast option, but they can be a double-edged sword for people with diabetes. The type of oats you choose matters a lot. Instant oats, for example, are highly processed and have a much higher glycemic index compared to steel-cut or rolled oats. Instant oats digest rapidly and can lead to sudden increases in blood glucose levels. Studies have confirmed that individuals consuming instant oats experience a more rapid blood sugar response than those eating less processed varieties. It's not just about the oats themselves, but what you add to them as well. Sweeteners, fruits, and other toppings can turn what seems like a healthy breakfast into something that wreaks havoc on your blood sugar. Quinoa has risen to fame as a superfood, praised for its high protein content and all 9 essential amino acids. But not all superfoods are super for diabetes management. Quinoa might be lower on the glycemic index compared to some other grains, but it's still high in carbohydrates. For people managing their carbohydrate intake, quinoa can be deceiving. While it may not cause the same immediate spikes in blood sugar as other grains, it can still contribute to higher blood glucose levels when eaten in larger quantities. And it's easy to eat more quinoa than intended since it's often seen as a safe option. Rye is another grain that gets a healthy reputation. It's known for its dense texture and unique flavor, and many people assume it's a better option than wheat. But rye can be tricky for those with diabetes. While it contains more fiber than standard wheat, it can still lead to blood sugar spikes depending on how it's prepared. Rye bread, particularly the softer, more processed varieties, can behave similarly to wheat bread in the body. The fiber content helps slow digestion somewhat, but for some individuals, this isn't enough to offset the carbohydrate load. Now, here's a grain that might surprise you: popcorn. Yes, popcorn is technically a whole grain, but it's not always as innocent as it seems. Popcorn can cause blood sugar spikes, especially when eaten in large amounts. While it's low in calories and often recommended as a healthy snack, its glycemic index is higher than many people realize. Studies have shown that popcorn can raise blood sugar more than you'd expect from such a light snack. It's not just the kernels themselves, but also how they're prepared. Pre-packaged popcorn often contains added sugar, oils, and other ingredients that can make it even worse for your blood sugar levels. Then there's couscous, which is often confused with quinoa but is made from processed wheat. It's a staple in many diets and often seen as a healthy alternative to pasta or rice. Couscous, though, can have a high glycemic index and can raise blood sugar levels quickly after eating. It's processed in a way that removes much of the fiber, leaving behind a refined grain that's not much better than white rice when it comes to blood sugar management. As we wrap up, let's save the most surprising for last: granola. Granola is often marketed as a health food, loaded with oats, seeds, and nuts. But most commercially available granolas are packed with sugar and sweeteners, which can turn this so-called healthy option into a blood sugar nightmare. Even low-sugar granolas can still have a high carbohydrate content from oats and other grains. Studies have highlighted that granola can be one of the worst offenders for people with diabetes, as it delivers a double whammy of high carbs and added sugars. Granola bars, often seen as a convenient snack, can be even worse, with many brands adding high fructose corn syrup and other sugars that make blood glucose control incredibly difficult. If you've been navigating the world of whole grains and trying to make the best choices for managing diabetes, it can feel overwhelming. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that all whole grains are good for you, but by understanding the nuances of how these grains affect your body, you can make smarter decisions that help keep your blood sugar levels in check. Remember, it's not just about choosing whole grains, but about being mindful of the types and amounts you're consuming. And that granola in the morning, it might be time to rethink that choice.